reports, and we have April 30th, our last budget meeting we had to review the budget. That's the right one, right? I see we just reviewed the final numbers. Okay, any questions, any amendments, any changes as far as the minutes goes? If not, I need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Sarah. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Isaac. Okay, Renner?
Yes.
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 Yes. I was thinking about going that way with everybody off, but that would just ruin everyone's day. Okay, treasurer's report. Everyone's had a chance to review Melinda's treasurer's report. Any questions on any of the numbers? Okay. Move down to bills for payment. Everyone has your list of bills. Any question on any of the line items on the list of bills to be paid? Okay, then a motion to approve the bills then.
I make a motion to approve the bills.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Clarence. All those in favor? Isaac?
Yes.
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 Okay. Chief, what do you got for us tonight?
I got a couple things. April 17th was Community Helpers Day at Plains Elementary. We had a lot of good questions from the students. Some of the best question was, what's your favorite donut?
I guess the question is, what is your favorite?
Well, my response was, have you ever had that?
Oh, good answer.
May 1st was the Touch a Truck event at John C. Myers in Broadway. Students enjoyed seeing our police cars and crawling through them.
Okay.
Ordinances are ongoing. Some are going smoothly, some are a work in progress.
Okay.
Officer Thompson is set to retire on June 30th. I have a replacement for him. Once I complete the background check on him, I will announce it to the council. This week is National Police Week. I want to thank everyone for their support. A lot of food and snacks were dropped off at PD. We're definitely blessed to be serving in our community. Just lastly, I apologize for all the emails that were sent out this week. I'm sure between me and town manager, there was plenty for you all to read this week. So if there's any questions about the emails that I've sent out, just please let me know.
No, none at all. None at all. Thank you, sir. AC, we're a little bit early.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and go with mine.
Yeah, let's go with Public Works.
Let's see here. So, just a few quick things. Our SCADA's up and running. We're kind of in the middle towards the end of our IT switchover, which obviously you saw firsthand here, because we were getting different devices we had never logged in yet with. So, I met with staff members from the Central Shenandoah Planning District Commission regarding the recreational trails program and other possible funding sources for trails and connector sidewalks along Memorial Park Drive and other parts of town. I sent that out with the memo to council. And so we're going to continue to look at that. One of the things is a Ready, Set, Go grant or funding opportunity. And the way that they want to structure it is separate the connector from Main Street, from South Main Street to West Riverside Drive from the rest of the other trail like surfacing projects. They think they stand a better chance of scoring higher in those grant fundings. And it makes sense instead of turning in a subpar application to have a good application to turn in. But the other thing that it does, in our comprehensive plan, the last update that you did 2 years ago, something like that, one of the things that the Plain District Commission did for us in the transportation section was identify, there's a map in there that shows all the sidewalks that need to be put in throughout town. Missing sections that don't have sidewalk, things like that. And so going through some of these processes will set us up to be ready to jump on any of those infill projects or new projects that are identified in the comp plan. So it might work out in the long run better to have the process go this way instead of how we were thinking before.
So they're looking at two different, they're looking Memorial Drive and then across?
So they're looking at South Main Street to West Riverside Drive
Okay.
as some type of VDOT
Okay.
project, sort of like we did out here with
Right.
McCauley.
Okay.
It's going to cut down the distance of it considerably, and they think that by going through some of these processes, because that was going to be a $2 million project when VDOT looked at it.
Right.
So our share, the town share would have been $400,000. It's like, okay. They think that there might be opportunities to get the actual construction costs down with a shorter section. Obviously, with a shorter section, you're going to have less, but it would be even discounted even further. It wouldn't be on the same scale as the entire length.
Right.
They're the ones who are very knowledgeable about all of the different funding sources, so we're very fortunate to have them.
That's better, no bid.
That's right, yeah. So you all are aware of the lead line inventory that we've been doing, that we developed and then going through and having to do testing on over the past several years. So now the big push is PFAS, polyfluoroalkyl, something or other. It's basically the microplastics and stuff in the water, and so there's a big push now to address that issue. True Panty is a company that the Virginia Department of Health contracted with to help out localities with the lead line inventory. And we used them to a certain extent with that. They contracted with True Panty again for the PFAS testing and stuff that we are required to do. So I think, and Chris can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're going to take care of all that testing for us so that our crew doesn't actually have to do any of that. And it's not significant amount of testing, but it does take that burden off of us. And the state's covering it by contracting with them.
First round has been completed
Okay, first sample,
this
okay.
week. Yep.
Good.
And the next one will be, July, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember.
It's looking for microplastics in the pipe.
In our water
Is
supply.
it shedding the pipes?
It's just, that's kind of the big thing that they've identified now is the PFAS and PFOS. And I can't tell you what the difference is between the two, but.
Okay.
So we'll have True Panty working on that for us. We met with Chris and Carl, the engineer, and I met with GZA Emery and Garrett. That's the firm that we contracted with to search for a new source of water and did the resistivity testing and everything. We met with them the other day, and because we kind of got held up with the negotiations with the landowners, they're going to go back out and they looked at some of the maps. We had a really good discussion, I thought, and they really feel like the town should prioritize this. Not that we're in a dire need of water right now, but just because we're limited on our sources, that we should really consider that a priority project that we need to address. But they did some work for Broadway a few years ago and had identified some potential drill sites, kind of in the same area, but maybe a little further back, Wholesale Road, things like that. So there are a couple of properties. They're going to come up with a suggestion map for us that we'll be able to contact some of the property owners and go about it a little bit different this time with a little bit more. This is what we want to do. Do you agree to let us, drill and give us an option for purchase before we do any of the testing? But they've already done some of the testing on some of the sites as far as the resistivity stuff. So that's how they know that there are potential good sites out there. A little bit further away than what we had hoped to have, but still not out of the realm of grabbing those. So that was a good meeting. And I think the final thing I have for public surplus is we have our surplus vehicles and stuff that are sitting down at the shop. We actually have our first one listed now. We're using GovDeals this time, try them out, and it's been pretty simple. We send over a form, we fill out the form, take some pictures that they request, and they develop the whole posting, the whole ad for us. We don't even have to, we used it with the other site we were using, we had to actually create the posting ourselves. So it's less work for us once we get the information gathered. But yeah, the first one is the 2008 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD pickup truck. Went live yesterday, I think. I think that's when I put it on, wasn't it? Or
Yeah.
it was either yesterday or the day before, but anyway, it's still got like 8 days left. And it's already up to $4,500. It started, the bidding started at $1,000, so we're at $4,500. So that's probably our best vehicle we have as far as hoping to get a fair amount of, or a good value out of it. So. And that's linked on the town's website under, if you go under the government page, or the government tab at the top, and there's when that drops down, there's a public surplus for sale. So just click on that and that'll link you, and there's a link that takes you to the GovDeal site with that listing. So spread that around. More bidders better.
Definitely. Okay, that's all for Public Works?
That's all that I have, unless somebody has any questions.
So we can open up, we have to have public comment tonight, or have a public hearing on the reassessment taxes. The county, as everyone knows, did a reassessment. We are not changing our rates. They're going to remain 11.5 cents. If you remember, 20 years ago, they were 17.5 cents or 17?
It was 17 cents when I started.
Yeah.
The next year, I think, might have been a reassessment. It went down to 16 cents. And then at the next reassessment, it went down to 11.5 cents.
Right. So we've, I guess, effectively kept lowering and lowering it to keep the tax burden less and less on the citizens of town. But we're getting to a point now where we need to, even though your assessment went up, we're looking at keeping the tax rate the same. So if the cost went up more than 1%, the state requires you to have a public hearing. Is there anything more to say than that? I know you had more.
I can go through the high points of the ad real quick. So when we developed the budget last year, we were working off of an assessment valuation of $224,347,826. That's what the county sent us as far as what the assessed value of the real estate was in town that we would levy taxes on. The new assessment value is $259,130,434, which is a 15.5% increase over last year's amount. To offset everything, it would have to, the tax rate would have to be lowered to 9.5 cents per hundred. I think that's kind of the biggest, those are the main figures that need to get thrown out there.
So we'll open it up to public comment. Any public comment, come forth, give me your name, where you put your address, and have public comment.
Carl Magenhofer, 15505 Forestville Road, beautiful town of Timberville. So very much like the county, as you mentioned, assessments went up. 15% is the number the county gave you all that you based your math on. I'm curious about that. Mine went up 25%. But that's neither here nor there, because the real item is everybody's expenses are going up. What's more expensive for me is more expensive for the town.
Correct.
It makes all the sense in the world. And that bears out in a budget that increases by more than 7%, because your costs have gone up. By staying at 11.5% on the real estate tax rate, or 11.5 cents, the effective tax increase is 21% for town residents. That's 3 times what the budget is increasing. And the math there's tough to swallow, whereas town residents have the joy of being served by both the county and the town. We get services from both.
Yeah.
So we pay for both.
Right.
And we should. We're served by both. That makes sense.
Right.
But when the county's already punching us with an 11 point something percent tax increase, and this is an effective increase of 21%, it's a little much, I think. And I could, to me, in my opinion, it's worth absolutely nothing, but to me, a tax rate of, 10.5 cents makes a lot more sense to me. It puts you closer to a 10% increase in tax rate, which is much closer to the budget hike to me, rather than being close to a 3 times number. And that's just my opinion.
And I think the difference we're talking about is 7.8% on our budget.
On the budget
Of
total.
of 2.9 million. And
Your spending's going up, but you're asking the tax
Yeah, but-
to go up
It's
20%.
20% on yours, because it's only new $298,000 of a $2.9 million budget.
Right.
So that's the reason it's not an equal comparison, if that makes sense. But I understand what you're saying.
I'm not the only one paying taxes.
Oh, I know, I understand.
And more houses are being built.
Yes.
And more connections.
Yeah.
I mean, the town's revenue isn't stagnant.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying,
Understood.
an effective tax rate increase of 21% is a lot.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Close public comment? Public comment's closed. That's just what we have to do.
That's all we have to do for now, because it's already included in the budget, which we will do that at the budget hearing.
Yeah, we'll have the budget hearing later.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you don't, you just have to have your public hearing on it now.
Right.
Cool. Okay, what else we got? Business and industry, we're back to you, AC.
I actually don't have anything under business and industry right now for this meeting. It's nothing, no new news to report on that.
Parks and Rec?
So VDOT had their third public input community meeting on Tuesday, April 28th at the community center. It was a very large turnout for the event. VDOT said it was the largest of the 3 between Front Royal, Woodstock, and here. And it was a good meeting. I heard good discussions going on around. VDOT did like a 15-20 minute presentation at the beginning, and kind of going over the end of the plan and things like that. And then basically VDOT turns the information over to the decision makers, and they let them do their work. So after that meeting, or since that meeting, then I also met with several, I and a group of other individuals, met with several state level officials that came up from Richmond to do a tour of the corridor. And it was the Secretary of Agriculture and Forestry, the Director of Operations for DCR, the Deputy Director of Administration and Finance for DCR, and the former Secretary of Commerce and Trade. So there was a lot of very interested individuals in the project, because forestry and ag is the second, I think those are the second and third largest departments for the state. And the development of the corridor, whichever way it would go, has a pretty big impact on agriculture, and agritourism, as everybody knows, is a big thing right now. So it was good. It's good to have to see our representatives in Richmond, or the appointed individuals in Richmond, showing interest, that much interest in this project. So keep it moving forward.
And we have another, what's the next one, June?
Yeah, we're going to meet with
June 5th,